With that being said, I know you played quarterback when you were younger, and then just kind of what kind of happened between from when you were younger to, I guess, the point where you decided to go to Southwestern College and play quarterback. But kind of just walk me through that transition real quick.
Yeah, so as a kid, I always dreamed about playing in the NFL. That was always a dream in mind. And I got to high school, and I tried out for the football team. And, after a couple of practices, coach brought me in his room, and he said, hey, you know what, team needs you a wide receiver. And I said, sure, if that's what's best for the team, then I'll do that. So then I did that. Then at the time, bowling got really good for me. So started competing all over California, going to Arizona, Nevada, all those different places. And bowling's just not the same as football. I mean, it's just not the same. And the moment, like I was telling you earlier, the moment that I decided, it's time to play football again. I came out here to Coach Carver and I told him, hey, I want to be your quarterback one day. And it was just such a relief, just a relief to be able to go up to a coach and say, I want to play quarterback, because that was always been my dream.
Right.
And I'm just thankful again for Coach Carver, the opportunity he gave me.
Somebody told me when you walked on the campus here at Southwestern College, you were 9 of 9 quarterback. There were 9 quarterbacks. Yeah. I mean, you were the 9th quarterback on the depth chart.
Yeah, that is true. So I was the only one that didn't have a high school film. So just by that, I was number 9. And we had guys all over. We had a couple Division I transfers, and we had Eastlake High School, Chula Vista. We had a couple guys from around the area that were trying out as well, and I was just number 9 just because. And like I said, I wanted to make an impression. I wanted to be different from everybody else. I had so much catching up to do that I had to be different. Right. Couldn't be like everybody else. I couldn't just practice and that was it. No, I had to be here before, be the first one here, last one to leave every single day, make an impression on everybody. And so I did that. So I did that for a little bit. Then I ended up winning the second string spot during fall camp of 2013, just from injuries and people switch positions and all that kind of stuff. The 4th spot just fell in my lap, and then I won the second string spot during fall camp. And starter went down week 3.
What was that like? When you saw that, what did you?
I was nervous. I was nervous. I had never played quarterback on a field before. I mean, I was nervous. We were down 14 points in the 4th quarter against an undefeated team away. And I said, screw it, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Yeah. And so I went in there and I threw 2 touchdowns, brought us back, and we ended up winning the game. And that was a huge sigh of relief. I mean, it was a huge upbringing just from my family, just from, because imagine, on the verge of becoming almost a professional bowler, to switching that, to be becoming a football player that you've never played, it's just, there's so many different things, and it's just that game solidified a lot of different things. So in the game after that, so the quarterback was still out. And I went in there and we played a good opponent, threw for 3 touchdowns, rushed for 1, and threw for 300 yards. And so that was like the upbringing of Luis Perez, the quarterback.
Right. So, I mean, there's so many avenues I want to ask you about. We'll get to the bowling in a second, but when you were there and you brought your team back, was it that first game or was the second game that you? Because a lot of times when you go, everybody has a little doubt in their minds when they go and they do anything that's brand new. What did you? I guess when you came out the field that first time when you went in for the starter, did you say, I can do this? Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a huge wake-up call to be able, because I didn't know what it was going to be like. Like I said, I had never played, but just going in there and gave me so much confidence the next week. I mean, just we were playing an undefeated team. It was like this is the game of the season. And for me to go in there and throw 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter and bring us back, it's like, whoa, like I can do this, and it gave me so much more confidence than I already had. And I just kind of took that on and just kept that. Right. One of the things that, going back to high school a little bit, a lot of times when guys go and they play one position their whole, I guess, youth career, and then coach brings you in the office and says, hey, Luis, I need you to play wide receiver. I need you to play tight end. I need you to, do this. It doesn't go over well. You know what I mean? Because you haven't done that. You seem like a very, I mean, that's a very, very non-individualistic kind of team-oriented kind of thing. And I mean, where did that come from? And how were you able to, when you walked out of that room saying, okay, this is probably going to suck for a second, but, at the end of the day, it's going to help not just
me, it's going to help the team.
Yeah, no doubt. So at the end of the day, it's about winning. It's not about personal goals or anything like that. It's about winning the game. I can throw 5 interceptions in one game, but if we win, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the way I think. And it sucked at first just because I've always been a quarterback. I was a freshman in high school.
Right.
It did suck, but I knew that it was going to be best for the team, and ultimately that's what I wanted.
Right.
So that's what I did.
So I'm guessing, how much did it, changing positions and kind of everything going on with, your football from freshman and all that, transition you to, I guess, because would you rule like what, 9, 10, 8 perfect games in your life?
12.
12. Okay. Dude, I've never rolled over a 130. But I mean, how much did that have you transition into, say, hey, maybe football's not my calling, maybe, it's something else, and then to go to bowling?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I was bowling really well at the time, and it got really well. And then, again, playing in a wing T offense, playing wide receiver, not getting the ball much, going from having the ball every play to having it once every 10, every 10th
Right.
play, and it was just different. And at the time, I just felt like the priorities were bowling.
Right.
So then I decided, I told my family, hey, I'm gonna stop playing football and I'm gonna just go 100% all in bowling, and I did that.
What was your family's reception? Because I don't know how many high school kids come in here to mom and dad and say, hey, I want to be a professional bowler. you know what I mean? What was that conversation like?
Well, they knew I was pretty good just from
Yeah.
bowling with me, taking me to the bowling alley and all that. So they knew I had some potential, and I mean they're just really supportive with anything I do.
Right.
With anything I want to set my mind to, I mean they understand and they support me 100%, and that's what they did.
Bowling, how did bowling come about, I guess? I mean, did you guys go on the weekend? Was it a family thing? And then, and then where did you get the obviously, because to roll 12 perfect games, you have to have the itch to bowl.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. So it was my dad's, I can't remember, like 40th birthday. I can't remember exactly what birthday it was, but it was one of my dad's birthdays. Mm-hmm. And we go out there one night and I start bowling really well. I mean, I start, beating my brothers, beating my dad, and I'm like 10 years old, and I'm beating these guys, and I'm like, it's pretty fun, this is pretty fun, bowling some strikes, spinning the ball. And I'm like, golly, this is pretty fun. Then we started going Tuesday nights. Me and my dad would go Tuesday nights, and we'd go bowling, and we did that for, a couple months. And I was like, Dad, I want to join a league. So we joined a league together, got some shoes, got my own bowling ball, and just kind of step by step, just kind of escalated. Joined the league, then finally got into my first tournament, then won my first tournament, and it just, little by little, it just kind of went up. And like I said, it's just one of those things that I just really enjoy doing.
And we were talking about on the phone. You said bowling actually, if football didn't work out, you actually could have gone to. I've heard about it, but there's like bowling scholarships, or at least they give you money to go bowl at universities.
Yeah, so if you win tournaments, big tournaments, they give scholarship money, and you have a little funds account that you can kind of build your money as you go, as you win tournaments. So that would have been my plan B for sure.
How close were you to doing that, to becoming
close?
Close.
I still had some work to do. I wasn't there yet, but I was close. If I would have pursued it a few more years, I feel like I definitely could have done it.
So, take me back to that day you were talking about looking down on the field, and you're like, I don't want to be a bowler. I want to be a football player again.
No.
I guess I'm wondering what the thing was that just like that just said, Luis, dude, you're not a bowler. You're a football player. Like, what was it?
Honestly, that's still unknown. But all I can say is I almost shed a tear just from being up there on the stands, looking down, watching everybody run out of the tunnel, me looking to my left and my right and seeing everybody in the stands, and I just knew I didn't belong in the stands.
Right.
It's really hard feeling to understand. But I knew that moment on that I had to pursue the NFL. I had to. And that's when I started YouTubing how to play quarterback, kind of just networking with people, trying to figure out who played quarterback and who can help me. And so that's when I started doing that.
How tough was that to, because that takes a lot of work, dude. You don't just go and say, I want to go to Southwestern College and become the quarterback. I mean, it really must have taken a lot of work on your part to get to from that point, your senior year, to going to Southwestern College and going and trying out for the football team.
Yeah, no doubt. I had great coaches that helped me throughout the way. I mean, they were very supportive of my decision, what I wanted to do, which was play quarterback. And they're real supportive with helping me out, just learning. I mean, I knew nothing about playing quarterback. I mean, I didn't. All I know is that I can throw football. That's all I knew. I didn't know fronts. I didn't know coverages. I didn't know how to take a 5-step drop. I mean, I didn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate to have very good people around me that helped me and were supportive and kind of mentored me along the way.
So you kind of talked about it a little bit, going forward, and then once, people started noticing you, and I mean, I feel like you're a guy who plays with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because, you were successful here at Southwestern College, yet there was, no, San Diego States or USDs or whatever that are coming after you. And I think you almost take that as a slight. I mean, like, you know what? I can play at that level. And then you go to Texas A&M Commerce and then, perform at the level you performed. How big is that chip on your shoulder?
It's pretty big. I mean, I do understand that, I only played 4 years of football, but they have to see that I have a huge ceiling. Being able to learn the amount that I learned in 4 years. I mean, imagine how much I can learn in another 10 years. Sky's the limit for me, I feel like. But the one thing that I always took was, I heard this quote one time and it stuck with me. It was, so you don't try to prove the people wrong, you try to prove the people that believed in you right. And that always stuck with me. So like my wife, my mom and dad were so supportive with that decision, even though at the time it seemed bizarre, quitting bowling to be a quarterback. But, I want to prove all those guys right. And more importantly, prove myself right. Because I knew I could play at that level. Right. And I want to prove to myself that I was right about my decision.
Texas A&M Commerce, I mean, who else was there that was interested in you after after your sophomore year at here?
So I had a couple 1AA schools. I had UC Davis. I went up to a visit there. I had a couple preferred walk-ons, Oklahoma State, game preferred walk-on and stuff like that. And so I didn't get to Commerce until really late, just because I was living on that Division I dream. I mean, I wanted to play Division I football. That was always been the dream. And so I waited really late, and then Commerce came around, and I did some of my background research on Commerce, which they're the only team to develop a Division II quarterback in the NFL, or not the only, one of the few. And Dustin Vaughn, and when he was at West Texas A&M, and it was the same coaching staff that coached him. So that was one of the big reasons why I went to Commerce.
So going to Commerce, I mean, that must have been a tough decision for you coming from, here in San Diego where, we're a million people, and you were saying what is like 4,000 people
it's not
in the whole in the whole city, and just kind of that whole thing. What was that like?
It was different, coming from a big city to a very small city. It was different. But again, I mean, I only went there to play football and get my education. So there was no distraction. I had nothing to be distracted of. I had my wife with me. That's all I needed. All I wanted to do was get my education and play football, and I did that.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to put this in the story, but how much, because it seems you're a guy that continues to talk about the support that you get from your wife. I mean, speak to that, because that's the hugest thing with the person. If you have one person that believes in you, you know what I mean? That can make the world of difference, right?
No doubt. Yeah, she's super supportive. I mean, she's awesome. I mean, she's been there when I was a bowler. She's been there when I was the quarterback. She's been there when I was 9th on the depth chart. She's been there when I was a Harlan Hill National Championship winner. I mean, she's awesome. I mean, just to put this in perspective, my junior year, after we lost the second round of the playoffs at Texas A&M Commerce, I told her, I want to go to the national championship game and I want to watch it because I know I'm going to be there next year. And we looked at the weather and it was a blizzard. -5 degrees with a blizzard. And I'm like, I want to go. She's like, let's go. So we drove 9 hours from Commerce to Kansas City to go watch the national championship game. And I actually kept, where's my phone? I kept the wallpaper of that picture as my background the whole season in 2017. It was the picture of my wife and I in a blizzard at the national championship game in 2016.
Make sure we get a shot of that before we, dude.
So she's, I mean, just to put that in perspective, I mean, she would do stuff like that for me.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Okay, and then going to Texas A&M Commerce, and you redshirted your first year, and then your second year was good, and then, boom, you pop up on the national radar. What was it? 47-11, 5,000 plus yards passing. I guess what turned on the light, or was it you were talking about the development? Give me 4 years. Imagine what I'm going to do in 10 years. In 4 years, you go and you go 47-11, and then you go and throw for 5,000 yards. I mean, speak to that.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, well, first off, I mean, I had great coaches along the way, great players around me. I mean, my job was just to put the ball in their hands. And like I said, I was always a sponge around people. Since I was always playing catch-up, I had to learn everything. Somebody was talking football, I'd go over there and listen, just because I was so far behind when I was here. And I took that same approach to commerce.
Right.
And even though it might have not seemed that I was behind to some people, in my head I was still playing catch up. And to this day I'm still playing catch up. That's just my mindset, to be able to learn as much information as possible, to be above and beyond everybody else.
I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true or not, but that one of your football role models is Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
And I mean, I still remember watching the draft that day, and he kind of went the same route where he had to go junior college. And granted, he went to Cal, but he was in the same kind of thing. Even when he went to Cal and he put up the numbers, people were like, he's not that good.
Yeah. No.
I mean, you kind of have that like, I'm just here to prove. What was your quote that you said? You're here to prove the people. Yeah.
I'm here to prove the people right that believed in me, not the doubters.
Right.
Right. So.
I mean, can you speak to that?
Yeah. I mean, Rodgers is just. He's just one of those guys that went to junior college, kind of had the same route as me, and I feel like we have the same style of play. Maybe just because I watch him a lot, and just his whole story, his whole background. He's from California. He's not the biggest guy.
Right.
Just everything he had to go through to become successful. Is just really intriguing for me.
This year, I mean, you had the ultimate year in Division II. I mean. You went to the national championship. What was it? You said last year?
Yes.
Yeah, and then you go to the national championship this year, but this time as a participant.
Yes.
What was that like for you? Was it kind of like a defining moment for you? Just saying, you know what? This is all this, stuff about everybody not thinking I can do it. Like, here I am. I can do it. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I mean, it was a huge relief. I set my goals every year and I put them on my fridge, and I fell short my junior year. And just for me to accomplish every single one of my goals was just a huge weight off my back. I threw 5,000 yards, had over 45 touchdowns. All my different goals that I had set, that I met, just a great feeling. But then again, you have to sit back and understand, like, it's not the end of the road. Like, okay, yes, I won a national championship, I won the Hardin Hill, yes, but I'm not done. I want to play in the NFL. That was the dream, is to play in the NFL.
Speak to winning the Heisman of Division II. I mean, I mean, I don't care who you are, but anytime you get a trophy for being the best player in your particular, like if you're a salesman, you get the trophy for being the best sales guy, of the year. But for you to get that must have been such a special, like. I guess I don't. Was there a ceremony? What was it?
Yeah. So I mean, it was great, being able to win that. But again, I mean, that award is not just for me. I mean, that award goes to the defense, goes to the coaches, goes to the offensive linemen, running. I mean, that goes to everybody on that team. I mean, without a team, I mean, I'm nothing. So just to be able to share that moment with all my teammates and having their support, especially, it was just a great time having all their support, and then we had the ceremony. Late January, and it was just great, to go out there to see my former coaches again and go out there and just kind of talk about the whole experience after some time had passed, and it's just an awesome feeling.
So now here you are. You're, I guess, we're 4 or 5 days from the NFL draft, and you're almost in the same boat of looking up the things people are saying, maybe late 6th, 7th round, but definitely will be in an NFL camp. I mean, you've almost prepared your whole life for this to go in as the guy. I mean, from going here, being the 9th guy, to going to an NFL camp to be, the guy that will move his way up the depth chart, I guess. Just kind of talk to your motivation about that. And
yeah, I mean, I just had a goal in mind. I had a goal set, and I had tunnel vision, and I was going to go for that goal. And that's just playing the NFL. That's always been my dream as a kid. And now, the fact that, I'm hearing all this stuff, that, I'm going to be in a camp and I might get drafted and all that stuff. But that's not, again, yes, it's playing the NFL, but again, it's like I want to win a Super Bowl. Like, I don't want to just go in the NFL and, okay, I play in the NFL, woohoo. No, like, I want to go in there and I want to
win many Super Bowls, lead a franchise, lead men to succeed and win a Super Bowl. That's fun to me. I mean, that's fun to me, and I enjoy it a lot. And again, yeah, I'm so close, yet I'm still so far.
Is it gonna be strange because it's almost like you're jumping in from like you go and you become the small fish in the big pond, and then you become the big fish in the big pond. Then you become the small fish in the bigger pond, and then you become the bigger fish in the bigger pond. And now you're in the biggest giant pond you're ever gonna be in, and yet you're the small fish again. What's that like for you?
You can't think like that though. We're playing football. Everybody plays football. It doesn't matter what division you're in. You play football. You play football. You know, it was a huge eye-opening experience playing in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, just because me, you know, never throwing with Division I guys, always being with junior college and Division II guys. You know, being able to go in there and see that I'm capable of playing with these FBS guys. You know, Michigan, TCU, you know, all these teams. Was a huge eye-opening experience. You know, I ended up starting the NFLPA game, beating out a Michigan and TCU quarterback. You know, just to put it in perspective that, you know, I mean, I've always believed in myself.
Right. And that's the thing, though, is you don't make a big deal out of it. Like, people are like, oh, I beat out a Michigan and I beat out a TCU quarterback. You were just like, I expected to do it. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I set the bar really, really high all the time. And sometimes I may not reach that goal, but I'm gonna fall short, you know, and sometimes I'm gonna get it. And I like saying, dream big. You know, I dream big playing the NFL. I mean, people nowadays, they see a kid, you know, say, hey, so what are you gonna do when you get older? Oh, I'm gonna play in the NFL. You know, people kind of laugh and say, oh, yeah, okay, sure, you know. But no, like, if you really set your mind to something, like, you can do it. It doesn't matter what it is. And that's just my motto I've always had. Just go 100% all in whatever you do, and you can do it.
One of the things that I really loved today was Drew Westling sent me the video of you. And you said, if you're going to be the best football player, be the best football player. If you're going to be, you know, the best student, be the best student. If you're going to be the best boyfriend, be the best boyfriend. What exactly? I know what you mean, but can you kind of pontificate on that a little bit?
Yeah, just whatever you do, be the best at it. You know, if I'm going to be a quarterback, I want to be the best quarterback that ever played the game. If I'm going to be a student, I want to be the best student. You know, husband, I want to be the best husband. I want to be the best at what I do. I'm a competitor. I mean, I just want to be the best at what I do, and whatever that may be. And that's just my mindset I've always had. I guess you can say I was wired that way, but that's just always been, I mean, that's the norm for me, I guess you can say.
Where did that come from? Because I mean, a lot of people, they're just, you know, it's, I mean, you know, and I think you and I kind of are the same way where, you know, there's participation trophies. You and I are like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you wanna reach the pinnacle of the thing. Where did you get that, and how do you keep on motivating yourself with that particular, I guess, mind frame?
So my dad played professional sports, and he's wired that way. You know, we were always a competitive family growing up, in anything, playing ping pong, pool. I mean, anything. We were very competitive, and you know, that's what I saw in my household growing up. You know, with all my cousins, with my family members, we were just so competitive, and that was the norm to me. Like I was telling you, that's how it's supposed to be, in my opinion. Is you have to be competitive in whatever you do. You should want to be the best at whatever you do.
Right. And for you, just sitting here and thinking back, I mean, you don't seem like the guy that a lot of people think back and be like, oh yeah, I remember lifting all the weights and, you know, doing this and that, and oh yeah, well, I'm almost there. You look like you're like, all right, dude, you know, shut the hell up with your interview because I got stuff to do. You know, you know what I'm saying? You know, you look like you're moving on to the, like, you want to keep on moving forward kind of thing.
Yeah. My thing is, if you're not moving forward, you're stepping backwards.
Right.
So you're always want to move forward. You're never going to stay the same. You're going to get better, you're going to get worse.
Right.
And I'm not at my goal yet. I haven't reached my goal yet. So I'm not going to stop until I reach my goal. And then I'm going to move my, you know, whatever that is, I'm going to move to something else. And I'm going to go 100% all into that, and whatever it may be. But like I said, I'm not at my goal yet. But when I do, then I'll start settling down.
What is your family and your wife and everything think about these goals? Because I mean, dude, you're as motivated as the guys. I've met a lot of, you know, athletes in my life, and you're as motivated of a guy as I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, it's just I'm motivated to do things. I mean, I want to be the best. I mean, it's so hard to explain. It's just a feeling that that you can't explain. You just want to be the best at whatever you do. Like, it's such a tough feeling because sometimes it gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, being so competitive and being
Right.
so over the top, but that's just the way I was raised.
Right.
I mean, I was that way. My dad been professional sports. I mean, he knows how the business works. He knows how it is at that level, you know, that level of competition. And that's how he was. And again, I followed kind of my dad's footsteps. You know, he was a professional athlete. I want to be a professional athlete. So what does my dad do? My dad is very competitive. Well, I'm very competitive. And so that's just kind of the way it works.
What would it mean to you? And I mean, in this day and age, just kind of how everything is turned into, you know, like, you know, Hispanic, African American, like to be, you know, a starting quarterback of, you know, Hispanic heritage in the NFL, or just even to just, I guess, kind of be that guy that, you know, puts that mantle up and saying, hey, you know what? You can do it too, kind of thing. What does that mean to you? Because you really talk about your kind of like your family and kind of your, you know, your dad and all that kind of thing. What does that mean to you?
No, I mean, it's a pretty big deal. Just because, you know, I mean, you don't see a lot of Mexican-American, you know, professional athletes playing American football.
Right.
But again, I try not to get too caught up with all that stuff because,
Right.
I mean, right now, you know, there's really nothing I can do about it. There's really nothing. I mean, I can motivate people by my actions of what I do, and that's just what I'm doing right now. Just kind of wanting to be the best, and just that itself, I think, motivates people and knowing, hey, this guy can do it, I can do it too.
Can you see that you've motivated kids? Because I could see those kids today at Hilltop, and you know, and a lot of, you know, Hispanic. Can you see that you're actually motivating those kids? Yeah, I mean, you know, even if they pick one little thing out of what you said to motivate those kids, you know, that might be somebody say, oh, dude, well, you're supposed to play, you know, I mean, not to get, but you're supposed to play soccer, or you're supposed to be doing this. You're not a football player, kind of thing. I could see those kids, their faces, and then when you were telling them that stuff, could you see that too?
Yeah. You can see the passion of the guys kind of like just staring at me and hearing me talk. I mean, I know my message got across. Mm-hmm. Whether they got one thing or 10 things that I said, they got something.
Right.
And ultimately that's the goal, is for them to get at least one thing and take that and run with it.
And where are you going to put your trophy when you actually finally get it?
I got to make room for it.
Yeah?
I don't know
you have
yet.
enough room at your house yet?
It's a pretty big trophy, but yeah, I have to make some room for it.
Awesome.